call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Sunderland Selectboard. The time is 6:34 p.m. Alrighty. Wonderful.
I think we got everybody.
Yep, we should be good. Alright.
Somebody wait, are there any?
No, they're in there
They're in.
already. Yep. Alright, so we don't have any minutes to approve this time. We will handle that next time. New business, first order of new business is to review the annual town meeting outcomes. So yeah, the annual town meeting was Friday. I think it went very well in a number of ways, both in terms of efficiency and time. We were in and out of there in a reasonable amount of time. I think everyone got a chance to be able to speak their piece and ask all the questions they wanted. And we were still able to get people home before midnight, which is lovely.
Yes.
I, for one, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I know there were some complaints about people couldn't hear in the back.
Yep.
So we're gonna work on that for next year. I'm not sure why the air condition, I think it was the air conditioning that was blowing that came on, and we'll have to figure that out, as well as get a fob for us to gain access without waiting on anybody from the school.
No, and this is not the first year that the air handling system has been an issue. It's been an issue many years. And it's...
We only had speakers in the front, right? We don't have anything in the back, or do we?
There were speakers.
There were speakers in the back.
It's a combination of the ambient noise and then also a lot of people not, having good, what we call microphone etiquette.
They were suggesting having a lesson before the meeting.
Yeah.
Tell people, advise them, get this close to the microphone.
Well, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's also, if you want your question or your opinion to be heard, it's behoove you to make sure you're heard. So, anyways. I agree that that's definitely a good lesson for us for next time to try to figure out a better method. I know in the past we've had like usher type people, I forget the term for them, but the people who would collect, do runners or something, there's some word for them. We didn't this time. We could next time have those people and have them have a microphone in hand and have them come and shove it in people's faces.
Or have somebody stand at the microphone to help.
Or something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be better to have somebody stand at the
Stand at the mic.
microphone,
Mhm.
yeah.
And help get it to the person's mouth.
Yeah. We lift it up, push it out, whatever you do.
Yeah, and again, it's a great job for some teenager that wants to be involved,
Yeah.
or,
Mm-hmm.
And some people get nervous just speaking,
Right.
so they don't.
exactly.
Yep.
And it was really difficult when people wore masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe we can get some of those covers for the microphone, so maybe they'll take their mask off for a minute. I don't know.
That's true, I didn't think about that.
Okay, good takeaway for us for that. Other than that, overall, I think that the discussion went well. The votes obviously went the way that we were, hoping that they would go in terms of operating the town budgets and whatnot. And I mean, I think the last count was 211 voters, something like that.
Yes.
So a very large turnout. In the past, I believe our last couple of years were in the 80s and 60s.
We had 211.
211 registered voters at the town meeting. So that's, for us, a good turnout, which is great. So, yeah.
Plus, there were a lot of visitors,
A lot of visitors, yeah.
almost 30 of them.
Yep.
Yeah, and most of those visitors are typically the normal visitors. The school, the EMS, between,
Employees and
Mm-hmm.
between all the different schools and, EMS, South County. I think that's probably right about what we would typically see anyways on it, highway department. George isn't a registered voter in town,
Right.
so,
And Eric is not anymore, since he moved to Montague.
yeah.
Yep.
So, that's probably about typical. Yeah, it was a great turnout.
Yep.
Good.
I heard from a couple people that they felt the select board was well prepared in answering all their questions.
Wonderful.
That's good.
That's great.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And I think the attorney did a wonderful job stepping in and, answering the questions when they needed to be answered. We don't usually see the attorney step up and talk.
Oh, can you add?
Oh. So Dave David Jenkins was, okay, here we go.
Who?
Oh, he left. Where's Peter?
I'll keep my eye out. If you just don't again, we'll grab him. Yeah, no, it was definitely good to have Michael there. I appreciated his quick responses to people's questions and clarification on that. And I think it was very helpful to have Darius say some words about the school. Speaking with Peter, I thought that Peter's words were helpful in doing some framing for everybody in terms of what's at stake in the override, what the drivers are, and that kind of thing. So I think all around, we had good people speaking, and everybody seemed to get where we were coming from. And obviously, in terms of the eventual vote, especially on Article 3, I think it shows that there wasn't a lot of uncertainty in people's minds about what the article meant and where we were going and why we were asking for the money we were asking for.
Yeah, no, I think we just did a good job. I think all of us with finance, really thinking everything through and came up with something that made sense. And I thought we all did a good job. I was really happy with it. And I think that came across that people understood that.
Yeah. I don't know. Any other comments or takeaways from the town meeting? Right, and just to confirm, voting is through Saturday at 1 p.m. Is that the end of voting?
I thought it was 2. I'll have to
Well, let's confirm that and make sure
Yeah,
we.
just want to make sure.
Yeah, I thought it was 9 to 2.
You probably are right, but let's confirm. All right, we'll come back to that in a.
Well, no, I think we need to look it up now.
Yeah, that one needs to be confirmed for the.
No, I meant I was going to let people with
Oh.
the phones do their thing, and I was going to just.
Okay.
But actually, we'll just take a second because we're not in that much of a hurry.
And then the extension that you voted last Monday for Wendy, so she could go till 5 o'clock, I think, tomorrow night.
Look at the voting information. 9:05. No, wait, that's a register.
That's for sure, yeah. I'm not seeing it.
Should I go read it off her door?
Annual, yeah.
I'm gonna run downstairs.
Yeah, if you don't mind. That'll probably be faster than us trying to figure it out online. Thank you.
Hilarious. Eight to 1. No, it's 8 to 1.
Yeah. I thought-
Annual town election, Saturday, May 2nd. Public library, 8 to 1.
8 to 1, okay.
Feel bad now. This is a tough line.
There's the, if you want to just, while we're waiting, just remind people the early voting hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so just a reminder for everyone in terms of early voting. Our early voting hours are Monday, April 27th, which is today and is now over. That was 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday, April 28th, tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesday, April 29th, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And Thursday, April 30th, 9 a.m. till noon. And then we just confirmed that the hours on Saturday will be 8 a.m. till 1 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, 8 to 1. That's right.
8 to 1.
It is written on the door, the front door, So Tuesday's hours will be 9 to 5. Wednesday will be 9 a.m. to 3:30, and Thursday is 9 a.m. to noon.
Okay.
So they
Yeah.
follow Wendy's regular hours,
Perfect.
except for Tuesday.
Yeah, and voting Saturday,
Voting Saturday wasn't on the sheet.
8 to 1.
it's 8 to
To
1.
one,
Yeah.
thank God.
Dan was able to confirm that with, he found it online. Wonderful. All right, so that takes care of all that. Any other final comments on the annual town meeting or annual elections before we move on from those? Wonderful. All right, next up for new business is the Chard Pond evaluation update. Where are we at?
Okay, so as you recall, last year we got a letter from the state making us responsible as a partial owner of Chard Pond Dam, Standish Chard Pond. That now the state has put together a bid package. They went out to bid and they're doing an evaluation of the pond to try to determine whether, what would it take to go to make next steps to remove the remove the dam, or to, or to advise what else could happen to maintain it safely. I've been in correspondence with the other owners, the Goodyears, back about a month and a half ago. We're going to reconnect as soon as town meeting's over. That's why I wanted to talk to you all tonight. So the pond itself is now the work has started. There are now a couple of test wells that have been put in by the evaluators, and so they came out last week ago Friday, and so they've begun their work.
Okay.
And as they go through this work, I think it's important for the select board to start thinking about if they would be okay with, it's hard to say removal of the dam, since they consider the road our portion of the dam, so we don't want to remove our road, but removal of the dam would save the town money in the long run. And it's also the objective of the Goodyears. They're hopeful that if they can remove the dam and the liability there, their property would be more, they'd feel better about the property.
And pardon my ignorance of dams in general, I know very little about them, but my assumption of a dam is it's holding water back from going somewhere. We remove the dam, where is that water going? Is it just going down the stream that's already there, but at a more brisk pace? Is it just that we're removing the holding pond itself and it'll just be a stream again? Will things just be the same way as they are now, but there's no dam there?
I think the last option of what you described, because currently the water flows into a culvert that drops about 25 feet. So the functioning of, the dam is barely holding the water back. Because it's a culvert, where the road is acting as a culvert and as a partial dam down below. But the purpose of the town infrastructure was to provide a culvert to control the flow, so the water would go safely under the road.
Okay.
So we want to maintain the safety of the road, and hopefully if they can, I think that they'll be determining how the flow of water has changed over time. And right now it's filled in with sediment. There's very little, there's still water flowing through, but there's not much of an active pond.
Okay.
So.
The culvert's being maintained, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the address? What's the actual address?
It's on Falls Road. It's quite a ways down.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Do they come up with an address here,
So,
maybe?
no, it's probably not.
It's really obvious, because you'll see, it's the only place where it looks like there's a
Depression on
pond.
one side. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
it's
I
on the
know exactly
right-hand
where
side.
it is. I'm having a hard time placing where everything is in my head. I'll have to go right by it there at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, you don't need any action from us. This is just an update, so we know where you are, and you will keep us updated as things go on and we get
Yes.
closer to a decision-making point where we have to decide what to do.
Just so
And we will, I'll be trying to work with, I think it's Connecticut Rivers. There's a number of different nonprofit organizations that help remove dams for, private dams or municipal dams. And they support and they do fundraising to help raise funds to do that. So we'll try to build a coalition to support this project.
And just so the state volunteered, the state found money to do this study.
Yes, the state found money to do this study. The Goodyear had reached out for some advice, and then they pursued this. The other project they did last year was the state also, before they determined we were the responsible party, they did an emergency action plan.
State did that for us?
The state did it for us.
Good.
And at that point, I was still trying to argue we weren't an owner, so doesn't look like we're going to win that battle.
Well, I mean, I guess there's sort of a flip side to the ownership part. Is that on one side, it's a liability, being part owner is a liability. The other side is that if we weren't at all an owner and the other owners decided to make unilateral decisions that had an effect on our dam, on our road and the culvert and like that, it would be harder for us to, have some control over that. So we are trading the liability for more control over the eventual shape of the project. So, it's not all good or bad either way.
It's because our public road is part of the dam, and that's why we.
And we want to make sure whatever happens isn't going to undercut that road and end up having a cave in 5 years, 10 years from now. So, anyways, I'm glad that at the very least that we're involved. Would have been nice to be involved, have our cake and eat it also, and not have any liability, of course. But we're neither here nor there.
What's amazing to me, having done a bunch of these, is that they're actually doing the work for us. A lot of
Isn't
times
that
they say,
shocking?
do the work, they'll send you letters that you do the work. So,
Yeah, and they
really
demand it on a certain timeline, and they threaten with, $500 a day penalties, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Thank
So-
you, State, for taking care of this stuff.
absolutely.
So I appreciate this.
You know me, whenever you say no cost to town, I go, oh, okay, great. That makes things so much simpler for everybody involved. All right, any more conversation about that? Wonderful. All right, the last new item is some exciting new news, which is that we're going to have a new town website coming on May 4th, which is Monday of next week? Next Monday. Wonderful. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what that looks like?
It's brighter and lighter colors. It's a more ADA, there's an ADA component because it's more, they say it's more readable. So the fonts that have been chosen and everything are for readability. And so the changes are slight, except it will look very different.
So it's mostly a stylistic change as opposed to a content change.
Right, the content is for the most part the same. We're trying, Mel has done all the work on the conversion, which has been huge. And hats off to her. She's been focused and working on
in-house.
Well, she's been working with Civic Plus.
Okay,
I mean,
Civic
she's instituting their change. I mean, they're doing the programming, but she's had to learn how to do all the, implementation of moving everything around, putting in the pages, putting in the new notices, updating all the emails. So it is structurally very different. I mean, because the one we had was no longer going to function or be supported. So we were in a position where originally one of the first things I was asked is they came in to present our new website between $30,000 and $50,000 last year, and I looked for other options, and they were able to come back and facilitate, a new design and many other things at, closer to $5,000.
Wonderful. And please thank her for all the hard work on this. I know that this has been a project and a half, so
Yes.
we appreciate it. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing that when it comes live. Is that going to be beginning of the day in the 4th, end of the day, you know, or is that some
I think
point?
the beginning of the
Beginning
day.
of the day, okay, wonderful. I will look out for it then. That's all of our new business today. Old business, select board updates. Dan, do you have anything for us today?
No, not today, should have something next time.
Wonderful. Crystal?
I don't have anything at this point. Well, actually, I guess, they have, as far as South County EMS, they do have some candidates for the job, for the director's job. And I believe they are now in the process of trying to get those interviews scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
Eric will be our police chief, will be representing Sunderland in the initial interview process.
Okay, wonderful.
Other than that, I'm done.
All right, I don't have anything today. Becky, any kind of administrative updates for us?
No.
Wonderful. All right, we have somebody named Michael in the room. Michael, did you want to add any public comment? Give it a minute just because it might have
Yeah.
caught him off guard and it takes a minute to get you off mute. I don't want
Yeah,
to
we
rush
might
him.
be cooking dinner from the other side of the room.
All right, we don't have any executive session or anything like that, so I don't think Michael's going to ask us anything, so we will go to adjourning. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion we adjourn.
Second?
All right, we have a motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. The time is 6:55, and Michael, if you end up having a question for us, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, everybody. Oh, and our next meeting is, speaking of May 4th, is next Monday, May 4th, at our normal 6:30 time.